there's a lot of topics out there that money touches, and one of those is surrounding higher education. Now, for generations, we've been sold a promise. You go to college, you earn your degree, and you secure a better future. It's a promise that's launched millions of careers and opened countless of doors to opportunity. But today, that promise comes with a price that might be so steep that it's fundamentally reshaping how an entire generation builds their lives. Student loan debt in America has reached crisis levels. We're talking about borrowers in their 30s, 40s, and beyond who are still paying for those undergraduate degrees. Now, what that means is mortgages get delayed, families get put on hold, even retirement savings are deferred. And here in Georgia, the monthly payment burden on student loans is real and significant. But this isn't just a personal finance problem anymore. When millions of people are strapped with six-figure debt obligation, it affects the entire economy. We're talking about housing markets, consumer spending, and overall financial stability. So we need to ask some hard questions here. Is the current system sustainable? Should the government put limits on how much students can borrow? And most importantly, how should families actually be thinking about whether a college degree is worth the investment anymore? To tackle these critical questions and help us navigate the student loan landscape, I'm joined now by Wallet Hub writer and analyst Chip Lupo. And Chip, I want to dig into these numbers with you. On average, how much is the average borrower in Georgia paying every month on student loans?
Well, Georgia is somewhere in the middle of the pack with the 50 states. They're sitting at about 20th with an average student loan payment of about $200. That puts them right in the middle of the pack. Now, to put that in perspective, Maria, Vermont has the highest average student loan debt at $248, and Mississippi is the lowest at $142. Now, these are just the median annual payments now. But in order to be able to pay these student loans off at a reasonable rate, you're going to have to pay somewhere upwards now, assuming that currently the average student loan debt right now nationwide is like $39,000. So with a fixed interest rate of just under 6.4%, you would have to pay about $288 to be able to pay off everything within 20 years.
That is a staggering amount, and I'm sure for so many families, they're starting to look at, is higher education a part of our future, financially speaking? What tips can you offer students looking to minimize the amount of debt that they take out for college?
Well, well, before even going to college, you definitely want to do your homework, okay, and find out the costs. Now, I remember when I was navigating the college process, and I was looking at some at the time some pricey private schools, and one of them was this was like in the late 80s, like 25,000 per. But the guidance counselor was telling me, it's like, well, that's if you don't plan on eating anything. So so when it comes to college, look under the hood, because the sticker price, more or less, there's usually a lot more to it in terms of fees, room and board. So you have to factor in a lot of other things other than just the tuition. By saying that the college now costs $40,000, yeah, that's probably just for the tuition. So you want to factor in all the other costs and other ancillary costs like transportation, food, entertainment. But to be able to do that, though, you want to be able to create a budget and be able to just know exactly how much you're going to need just to survive every month.
Yeah,
Now,
go ahead.
one thing you could do is stay in state. Um, public schools aren't cheap anymore either. There was a time when public schools, you could go and you could spend 4 years and not even have to worry about debt if you were an in-state resident. Now those costs have come pretty high, but still substantially lower than private schools. So consider that. Consider a technical or community college where costs are very, very low, and maybe you could stay with your parents or something for a couple of years, save up a little bit of money, and then be able to go to a larger school for 2 years and find yourself with less debt coming out of it.
We talk about how many students are affected in this way. Is there any benefit to considering changing how the government kind of operates here, with basing the total amount of student loan debts that can be borrowed on the quality of the university or employability of the degree that that student is seeking? I mean, anything that the government could do to address some of these issues?
Well, I think the government's making some steps in putting caps on the amounts that you can borrow, but I think a lot of it is on the schools too. There has to be some steps made within the individual institutions into making it more affordable, whether it's through tuition reductions and perhaps maybe offering programs that are going to have a better return on your investment too. Also, that's a key right there, because too many people are majoring in something that's maybe not going to provide them with enough of an income coming out to be able to even pay off the student loan debt. Because what happens is that people come out of school with massive amounts of student loan debt. Then there comes buying a house, buying a car, raising a family. And what happens is when the debts start piling up, student loan debt becomes less of a priority. So it either brushed aside, or folks are just making the minimum payments.
And this doesn't just affect students too. We're talking about the overall economy. How much does this massive growth of debt really affect us around the country?
It's a huge problem, because when you have this massive debt, I mean that affects consumer spending. People are allocating more of their income towards keeping the student loan debts down, and that's taking away discretionary or disposable income that could be spent in other areas. So yeah, businesses, local economies suffer, housing markets suffer. So yeah, it's not a very good situation to be carrying this much debt, because the number that we're looking at here is 42.3 million Americans that owe 1.67 trillion in student loans.
Yeah, and that affects not only just the folks that are going to school and coming out of school, but also other people. I'm curious, a lot of parents are hearing this, a lot of students are hearing this, and it's a little bit frustrating, but what kind of conversations can be had about the return on investment to spending on higher education?
Look into a degree field that's going to provide you. You have to look at the overall economy and see where the jobs are. The jobs are obviously in the tech area, med tech, health tech, nursing, medicine, those types of things. Now, a lot of these jobs though do require, to be clear, now much of the student debt is not necessarily placed on just 4-year institutions. People who go on to graduate school and professional school, that's where a lot of the debt tends to really pile on. So if you're going to go that route, you want to make sure that you're going to wind up in a field that's going to allow you to be able to pay off that debt comfortably and still have enough income to pay all of your other expenses.
Yeah, the conversation has gone from go to college, get your degree, and you're set for life, to be very intentional when you do seek higher education, make a plan, have those conversations, parents and students now. We're joined by Chip Lupo, who's a writer and analyst with Wallet Hub, and I just want to make sure, because this is a topic that we really could get into and spend some time on, any final thoughts and just message that you want people to take away from this?
Just do your homework early on and don't wait till the last minute. I mean, get your paperwork in order. Look at alternative ways through scholarships. Now, most folks may not qualify for scholarship within a particular institution, but look, maybe if you belong to a church, some civic organizations, a lot of states like here in South Carolina, we have a state lottery that offers scholarships. So look at ways to be able to fund that, and maybe even bite the bullet and look at other sorts of income and take on maybe a part-time job while you're going to school.
Fantastic advice, and you can build up your financial literacy with us as we talk to experts like Chip and get you insight into how to look out for yourself, your family, and your money. Getting by Better airs weekdays at 3:30 on Atlanta News First and streams live on ANF Plus.
Thank you for watching ANF Plus. For more breaking news, live coverage, and your community stories, download the Atlanta News First app. You can also watch us on YouTube, Roku, Apple TV, and Fire TV. To join the conversation on YouTube Live, visit our channel and hit subscribe. You can also listen to the Atlanta News First podcast by searching Atlanta News First on your preferred listening platform.